Well, one of the great things about coming along to the Landlord Investment Show, we're here at Olympia, is it's a great chance to meet up with old friends. And I've just bumped into property developer Paul Nicholson. Paul, you've got so much going on, you're so busy, but before we go there, your first time at the show, what's your impression of it?
Oh, the footfall here is tremendous. There's so many people have turned up today. Some great exhibitions going on. There's some really good talks at the seminar, so really impressed, and it's a worthwhile thing to come and attend.
We always say, you know, it's so important for landlords to keep up to speed with legislation, regulation, all the different products and services out there. So this is a really worthwhile day out, isn't it?
Oh, it's much needed. It's something you really need to be coming, because it gives you what hot topics are going on in the property industry, what investment markets are going on, and also some of the pitfalls of markets to stay away from. One thing we try and challenge with our team is I had the 5-person challenge, which I'll touch on today in my seminar, where I encourage people to meet 5 new people and then follow up and follow through with them. You know, it's building your network so important. It's a really good thing to do. And then when you've got those networks with like-minded people, we try and push accountability on. So when you're, the smaller property investor, and you might be working on your own, try to be accountable. It's up to you to get out of bed on a Monday, but where you've got someone you're accountable to, if it's a like-minded friend, you feel that bit more motivation to get up and go. So coming to events like this, you network with people like that who want the same success as you.
Very good point. Now you are doing some speaking here. Tell us about your panel and your individual seminar.
So my individual seminar is about transforming forgotten places, town centres. So I'm going to be touching on why people need to be looking into these town centres, and not necessarily just the well-known property hotspots, which are coming very saturated, prices are pushing, and because there's a lot of development there, rental growth is going to be kept low. It's not got that great scope for growth. So looking at other areas such as town centres, which are great commuter towns, they're redeveloping, reinventing themselves, so it's a very impressive market to be looking at. In terms of the debate that I'm on, it's about, again, the UK housing market and development, again, focusing on these investment hotspots and giving like-minded investors a little peek into what I believe you should be looking at, not necessarily the go-to places everyone is looking at now.
Well, Paul, you're like a property dynamo. You're always on the go. You're always hungry for new information. You've got your developments ongoing. And, talking of finding those kind of golden spots for property, you identified St. Helens as that. And we visited you when you did your conversion of the iconic Tyrers building. Can you give us an update on that? So
the Tyrers building, which was the 5-storey retail building, that we converted that in early 2018 to 15 apartments with the ground and basement, 4,500 square foot duplex unit. That's completed, fully let months before practical completion, and we set all new records in the town. But it showed that there is a market for the product we were delivering. We then moved on to our next project, which was a 4-storey 1950s office block, previously occupied by a firm of solicitors. That's now complete. That's 18 apartments with the penthouse level, all having balconies, and 4 retail units underneath. Again, fully let, and we actually beat our previous records in rental levels. We're now on to our 3rd and 4th projects, Nicholson Plaza and Nicholson Place. We split the building up. It's a 35,000 square foot office block. And we split it for concentration levels, flexibility when dealing with lenders, and also if we wanted to exit via sale, we can keep some and sell some, and also it helps us restructure with the freehold. So, we're setting up a Nicholson Academy, and we'll discuss these points when we go through that. But on there we've got the first of its kind, 11,500 square foot private rooftop terrace in the borough, never been done before. So that's going to be 28 apartments, 7 retail units in the rooftop, and we're just in legals now on 2 more exciting deals, so hopefully we'll be signing them again in the town centre. Very prestigious building, one of them, so we can't wait to announce those plans. Wow, that is incredible. What I'm hearing from you is that you're going more for buy to hold, so you're looking to build your the stock that you hold. Why have you chosen that route rather than buy to sell? I'm a long-term investment, and when I started out, it was always be for passive income, that monthly income, and I've I feel like I've gone through the harder stages when I used to be scraping the wood chip wallpaper myself. I've got onto all that, sleeping on floors. I put the effort in. Now we're getting to a stage where the business is growing. We've got 200 rental units, so the passive income's quite impressive now. And we're now harnessing that income to push forward with the development sites. So it's a bit of a unique stance because, as you say, most developers sell and then they've got the capital and go again. We've now got the capital coming in because we've built up previous income coming through the door as well. We've got two streams, so it's quite interesting, and we're leveraging both income and capital to push forward with the developments, and at the same time de-risking those investments because we're not using bridging finance or waiting for investor off-plan sales.
It seems to me that you have found a niche in St Helens, and it's an area that you know really, really well. You've got all your support team around you, and I think that's a very good way forwards to kind of almost dominate your patch.
Yeah, exactly, that's what I've always done. When you first came to speak to me, I think it was in my Liverpool office in Wavertree, down the road from Kensington, where we dominated. We had 150 properties in the area. We were the go-to brand. We're now setting up our St Helens office. We're opening our second office now. And again, we're using the same strategy to dominate. And also, we are also driving forward the new standard of housing. Because we've got so much of it, it is a decent standard. So now we're bringing these young professionals where previously the stock didn't exist. So you didn't quite have the right tenant profile. Now we're pulling that through to the town centre, creating footfall with people with disposable income. So at the same time, we're now encouraging a leisure scene. So we've just seen a creative arts and dance studio open in one of our buildings. We've just took on a champagne bar, first of its kind in St Helens, along with beauty salons, hairdressers, law firms and a cafe. So what we're creating now is a new neighbourhood. So that's now coming through, and the new neighbourhood, that can be seen at www.nicholsonwa10.com, and you can see what we're trying to promote. And my talk today is, St Helens is just one of these town centres. Other investors, wherever you are in the country, possibly take a look at these places, and because they were such community hub spots, the commuter links are great, so you can still access the hustle and bustle of the employment market in your major cities, and people will come and live and play in these town centres.
Paul, I think it's so interesting and also commendable what you're doing because, as you said, you've done product to a very high standard that may not have really survived before, but you've almost created this new standard and you've brought up the whole community with it. And I mean, that must be so rewarding, but I think it's a wonderful business model because it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good for the community, it's good for the council and the town, it's putting residential regeneration first, which is something that's much needed because these town centres will become ghost towns. With this setting up of retail parks on the outskirts through lax planning, the onset of the internet, there's no reason to be in these town centres anymore. So these town centres have to be residential led. Once you've got that footfall, you can trigger a whole different, you see the cafe scene, restaurants, bars, and it's starting to come through in St Helens now.
No, it's fantastic. So you mentioned that there's a few little indicators that you look for when you're looking for one of these town centres where this strategy could work. What are those indicators?
So the first one was obviously looking at you got to understand your model and what your product is. So our product is obviously, these luxury Instagrammable properties, as I like to say. If you go through Instagram and sometimes we look for hashtags, we see a lot of our younger tenants in these big light bathrooms that we create with the grey marble vein, putting the pictures up, so they are very much Instagrammable. So it's checking that key demographics there of young professionals. We spoke to local banks, agents, employers, and we discovered that that market is there, but the product wasn't there for them. Secondly is, how far away are they from major employment? Yep. Is there any good schools in the area? So checking those commuter links. Is there going to be any upgrade to the rail infrastructure? There was in St Helens, again another big tick box, and it was finding more places. Because St Helens was directly on the M6 corridor, from having a look through the planning portal, we discovered that Amazon have made it their home. So probably one of the largest companies in the world have now made that their home and have a base there. So it's looking at indicators like that and look at the council's attitude. So the council have proposed a £300 million regeneration. Interestingly, the building you came to see, they bought the shopping centre for £27 million. So that's quite a good comparable for me when I exited that development. So it's looking at those key indicators, what's going on. I don't believe necessarily in location. I think you pay a premium to get in there. And if you're looking to maximise cash, long-term investments, and using sensible buffers, you've got to create the location. Now in St Helens, when you go, when you see the Nicholson stamp, you know what we've created.
Yeah, you've created a brand as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I'll just touch on briefly in my talk, and I mentioned it in my podcast, is I liken the property business to the Henry Ford production line. Obviously, he has his cars, we've got our properties. Then there's the machinery, the production line. Ours is our people. Yes. He has his brand, which is on the Ford badge, and obviously we have our brand going forward. And they need to reinvent yourself. So we've just gone through a rebrand. Our buildings have Nicholson. We were previously Luxor. Now we're getting Team Nico and Nicholson coming through, because I take so much pride in what we do, looking for the best quality in every area of my business. So now's the time to put my family name on it.
Well, Paul, you're such a dynamite, and it's so interesting talking to you. You've got so many great insights to share, and thank you very much for joining us here at Property Tribes, but also so great to have somebody of your calibre, your experience, and also your vision here at the show. I think everybody's going to so enjoy hearing you talk, and keep up the good work you do, because I really do think you're a shining example.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you. Enjoy the show.
You too.